It's a poison. That doesn't help the stress level. No, don't do it. Get a grip. This stupid video I just showed you. I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. It's donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome back, folks. It's senior day, and Notre Dame won. It wasn't particularly close, but I have a feeling there's going to be a bunch of people in the chat here that are going to have complaints about this ball game. And that's what we're here for. We're going to talk about it all. There was a lot to like. The defense dominated. They did their thing. From Notre Dame's end, there was a lot of slop. Pat, welcome in. Callers, we will get to you. The book's loading up here. Callers will get to you. Super chats, obviously, you get to jump the line. Donnie with the $50 holler. You're going to be first, as always. Pat, Notre Dame gets the win. That I want to say this before we get into anything else we're going to talk about. Number one is the mission was accomplished for the day, which was you got to win this ball.
You got to win.
If anything stupid happened, and you did that. That being said, I could tell by your face you're going to have complaints. So where do you want to go, Pat?
I'm pretty pissed off. That Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight was the biggest waste of time I've ever seen until I watched this football game today.
Yeah.
No,
you couldn't even watch that thing because it was buffering so much.
No, Netflix screwed the pooch on that one.
Yeah. They did.
So let's note, no, they won the game. They dominated this football game. So you can't really be upset about that. The offense was kind of there when it needed to be. They scored on the turnovers. When you get when the team turns the ball over and you can score a touchdown, that's fantastic. The defense was just lights out. I mean, there were times where I thought Tony Elliott just was like, let's throw in the towel because we can't do anything against these guys. Yeah. So there was definitely some great things there to see. Looks like LSU just lost. But the
And now wait a second. Now I want to be on alert here. I want everybody to know this. Do you know how many people I reached out to and I said the LSU media people were talking about how they could get back into the SEC title game?
Yeah, they're talking about it today on game day this morning.
And I was telling everybody, you better watch out for Florida because you're going there. And I'm just saying, watch out for it. So this will be great. It gives me something to watch all night again, to watch those guys lose their mind. So that warms my little soul. Callers, dial it up. Oh, I see the callers are loading up. Pat. Yeah. Some of this sloppiness, though, the penalties.
The penalties. Yeah. This is my thing. And we were chatting before we went live here. If you think you can play like this and win against high quality opponents, forget the playoffs. Yeah. Army is a very well disciplined football team. They are not going to make the mistakes that a Virginia makes.
Yeah.
So you can't just rely on turnovers and short fields for your offense. You cannot continuously put your offense in second and long or third and long when you should be third and short because of holdings or what. Notre Dame had 3 hands to the face penalties today, 2 on offense and 1 on defense. What? You don't see that penalty called more than once in an entire game, and Notre Dame had 3.
It was
so
just
man.
So, okay, the penalties were rough. A couple minutes into the fourth quarter, Notre Dame had a third down, and they put the thing on the screen, and it said Notre Dame's 1 for 9, and they're on third downs, and their average to go distance was 11 on those. So you had like a third and a 22, a third and a 16, a third and an 18. You got to clean those up. The kickers, it's not a big deal in a game you win by a bunch of scores, but when you get into the playoff or whatever, I need to know who's the kicker and who's doing what.
So even when the what's his name, the kid they brought in was out there, kicking the extra points, he didn't look right. I mean, he was just kind of trying to get it over the goalpost. He did not look right. And so it's clear that Kelly, there's a serious problem there. Yeah, Jeter is still hurt. He just did not look right. He was, and Kelly was, or not Kelly. I'm watching Kelly on my other screen. Freeman was, West Palm Pat probably thought Freeman was trying to run the score up, going for it on fourth down all the time. But in actuality, it's because he couldn't kick. He knows he can't kick the ball because he's got no kicker. And so you have a serious problem if you don't have a kicker. So you need to get this kid healthy by send him to Germany and do whatever the hell those players are doing over there when they go over there. You have to get this kid healthy. You cannot go into the playoffs without a kicker. You can survive these next two games without a kicker. You're not going to be able to do it in the play.
Now, here's what I want to say though, Pat. I'm going to try and have a perspective that I usually don't bring to this channel. And that perspective is, I'm glad that we're beating teams enough that the complaint people have is that we gave up a late score, or we need to clean up things in a 3-score game or whatever that wasn't close. I wish the offense was a lot better. Like, it is a luxury to be able to have all these complaints in these wins that are not particularly close. And our defense flies around, man. Those guys make plays, and when a guy gets hurt, another guy comes in and he makes a play. Like, that defense is fantastic. They've been doing a great job. And they did it again today. I mean, 5 turnovers in the first half. It was really good. There was just some sloppiness here that you're going to have to clean up if you want to make a playoff run, and that's kind of where we're looking. And if you don't even want to look at the playoff run yet, Army doesn't make those kind of mistakes. You can't be giving up possession. Be getting behind the chains or whatever. So this is going to be the real deal. I see everybody trolling LSU. I do have a request for the chat, a very specific request. Stay with me for a while, then go over and watch the LSU stuff later. Let's enjoy our stuff.
Even I need to do that.
Yeah, let's enjoy our stuff now that Notre Dame had a big senior day and you won this football game, and then we'll go troll them afterwards. So stick around here. We'll enjoy this for a while, and then we'll go over there because that's what I'm going to do later tonight. And I'll let Blake know what I think and see if he can finagle a way for them to get into the title game for the SEC or not. Pat, anything else before I do these super chats and start getting into this?
Yeah, no, it's just, it's a good win. At the end of the day, it's a good win, but there is a sloppiness on the offensive side of the ball that makes me think that this team is not ready for prime time. It's so I think someone else said it, or are we just kind of tricking ourselves to think that we're a good football team and then we play someone good and we turn out not to be?
I don't know.
And I think that's a fair question to ask right now, because at the end of the day, when you go up against, if you get a Georgia or an Alabama in round one, even if you're at home, I don't care how cold it is, you're in trouble.
Okay. Do you subscribe to the fact that it's senior day and we're a little distracted and there's a lot going on and it's just like, and it's not a prime time opponent?
Yeah, I can.
Does any of that apply to you? Like, are you that, or is that excuses?
Yeah, I think you could say, some of that matters, but it shouldn't cause your freshman offensive lineman to hold the guy. It shouldn't cause your junior wide receiver. I mean, that shouldn't play an impact on it, honestly. And John, if this was like just today that this stuff happened, I would be like, okay, I could chalk it up to just senior day, the emotional event. It's their last game. All that. I could buy into that hoopla. But this has kind of been progressing each week. These problems have been here, right? The last conversation I had with my dad about Notre Dame earlier in the week was well, they just commit too many penalties. And again, today they just committed too many penalties. So it's not changing. That we're not seeing that part of it get cleaned up. Yeah. It's very Brian Kelly-esque, Once that problem is there, there's not a way to fix that problem until the season's over.
Yeah, it's but listen, again, I want to compartmentalize all this. These are complaints that you can have when you're winning by a few scores, and then you're looking at, like, I want to make sure we frame this all right. Like, it is not enjoying the win. It's just if you want to get serious about anything in the postseason, you got to clean this stuff up. And I just think that's kind of fair. Always Irish senior. I love the speed on D. Must pass the ball if you want to play big boy football. Sloppy.
Yeah, Tim, dead on. You're dead on right,
Yeah,
Tim. It's exactly. It's just sloppy.
Pat, you know what it reminds me of? In Rudy when Era sloppy, run it again and he kicks. I love that little kick. Already sloppy, run it again and he kicks. I love that little kick.
I tell you what though, the one thing one last thing I want to point out was the punt, the fake punt that Faison took for a touchdown. I didn't realize it at the time, but they called it out during the halftime analysis that Freeman said to them, "I showed you this during the week. I showed you this and you said it was okay, and now you're saying it's a penalty." So you know what? If I'm Freeman, I'm filing a complaint with the ACC, which I think Freeman was very, very pissed off at those officials.
But that is
very pissst off.
He's doing that by the book. If you think you might try something like that, you tell those guys so they have it in their mind what you're doing and they can think.
Yeah.
That was unfortunate because it was an amazing play.
I think he was really, really upset about the way that game was officiated. And I don't blame him. At the same time, I do think Notre Dame committed a lot of those penalties. Like the punt thing, okay, letter of the law. But if he presented it to them and they said it's okay, then that's a different problem. But the one thing I wanted to bring up about the penalties, and I never like complaining about penalties because it doesn't really, I don't think that's really going to change the outcome of a game or something you just have to deal with. But the one thing I thought was weird is you saw so many mistakes from Virginia when it came to playing, interceptions, fumbles, blown coverages, all this stuff. But they didn't commit anywhere near as penalties. How can a team be so not disciplined, so undisciplined in their play, but commit no penalties? To at least to commit no penalties at the rate to which Notre Dame was being called for penalties. Yeah, that's that kind of stuff. And I saw, they always say holding could be called on every play. I saw plenty of plays where Virginia could have been called for holding and was never called. So it just didn't. It didn't sit well with me.
Yeah, I don't know, you guys. It's a luxury to be able to sit here and complain about a winning score like this. And that is a luxury. And so the team's still playing pretty good and they're right on track. Nothing catastrophic happened today. Whatever. I'm just saying there's some things you're going to want to clean up, not even before the playoff, but before next week. Like, that's the thing. It isn't just about
you got to do it before next week.
It's about next week. So maybe it's just this senior day and we're not ourselves because we're at home and it's the last thing and everything's weird. I don't know, man. I'm open to it. All right. What about these super chats? And then we'll get to the calls here. Pat, I know you got family stuff.
Yeah, I got to jump. I'll stick around for the super chats and maybe a call or two, but then I got to go feed my kids dinner. So
Donnie White with the $50 holler. I can always count on you. Let me get through the chats. We'll go to the calls. $5 holler from the V1 rotate. This might be the best defense in school history. Just imagine where we'd be if we had a competent, real offense. Also, big game, Brian. I'm telling you, man. I don't know what the LSU people are going to say this week. What are they going to spin it now? They've been trying everything to not hate on Brian Kelly, and they're running out of excuses. $20 holler from my lawyer in Michigan. Is this all just fool's gold? And he's only played one above average team all season. Eric, I do.
This was the comment I was talking about earlier.
I think this is a decent concern of you to have. I would like to think that our defense could pretty much play good football. I'm worried about our offense against a real top-end talent team. But I think this is fair. Although to balance it out, I'll say, if you're not going to play a bunch of good teams, then the way you show you're good is by kicking the crap out of the teams you are playing. And Notre Dame's doing a good job of that. So I get what you're saying, but at least we're not like barely winning against the bad teams, if that makes you feel better. $20 holler from my main man, Martinez. Not the prettiest win, but still a good win. Let's go. Best podcast in all the land. Johnny the man. Pat. Yeah. Pat's the man. I'm not going to say whatever that was. He was releasing the Cotter, but I think he meant that.
I don't know. I love Martinez. I love Martinez. He's awesome.
Yeah. Our passing offense is poo-poo. Also, Brian Kelly.
You know what, though? There were, like, that was, I just, when I watched it, I felt like one or two things happened. Either like a wide receiver got open, but like there was a breakdown in protection, or he had it all day, but nobody could get separation. But when you did have those moments where he found a guy, he was throwing darts.
Yeah.
Like, I actually thought he was throwing darts.
There were a few drops.
There was always some sort of breakdown half the time.
There was a few drops in the first half too. I don't know, man. This passing offense it's just never going to look like I want it. $10 dollar from Ryan Elliott. Ryan Elliott always donates and has nothing to say. Feel free to troll me if you want. Do something. $10 dollar from the lawyer. Jay Price is going to transfer. He's just as good as Love, and Price never gets the ball. I don't know. They divide him out.
Yeah, but like he had a fumbling problem at the beginning of the year, so I think that's kind of why he got backbenched a little bit. But I do agree when he comes in and he gets the ball, he rolls with it. So
$10 dollar from the Commander. Notre Dame needs the long pass to be serious in the playoffs. It's a concern, and it's like, you can worry about it or deal with it when you got to deal with it in that moment in that game, I guess. Ryan Elliott, BK, what a loser there. I said he needed to start commenting on the chats. There you go. What a good one to have. I wonder what the excuses are going to be this year. We need to pay this week. We need to pay better attention. We need to coach better. I need to coach better. Oh, man, it never ends. $2 holler from Michael. Tough blowout win to enjoy. The offense is still average. Man, I just like that my blood pressure wasn't shooting off the roof. Give me a break. Hold on, you guys. I'm writing down a couple things. $10 holler from C. Jones. Andrew Gilmore with $5 holler. We had a search party out for you earlier this week. Glad to know you're alive. Omar, $2 holler. Always handsome, John. Are you happy or what? My blood pressure wasn't shooting through the roof. Play one when Tyree decided to. You know what's funny about that, Pat? The only reason he fumbled that is because we kicked it so short.
Because he
had to run up and that.
I said the same thing. I was like, man,
I think that was on purpose.
I don't think that was on purpose. I think it's just our kicker sucks.
Yeah.
But hey, John, you finally got to see the leg of the punter today.
Yeah.
That was a boot. Holy
$2
smoke.
holler. Our receivers couldn't catch cold. There was a lot of drops. There was too many drops. I don't know, man. It was just kind of frustrating. But I'm sure that's not the return Tyree was imagining. I'm just sure it wasn't.
Hey, there's a lot of people beating up on Denbrock in the chat. I don't know why. I don't know why. I think Denbrock is seeing what his problems are, and he's trying to find ways to solve them. It's not easy when you got a underachieving wide receiver core, when you got they said your favorite thing in the world today, John, that Notre Dame's in the running for the Joe Moore Award. Yeah. And I'm sure you just flipped out of your chair when you heard that. But you have a patchwork of an offensive line who, I don't think they're as good as the NBC broadcast tries to play them out to be.
Yeah.
So I think you have an offense that has a lot of holes in it. And I think Denbrock is actually doing a fantastic job with what he has to actually have an offense that scores more than 35 points a game. I mean, not everyone's going to be Jared Parker and average 38, but still.
Yeah. It's and old Sammy Hartman was there looking good. He was there. And, he was there. All right, I got to get some of these calls. $5 holler from the Mendoza. Love makes it look so easy and effortless. Hope Indy fans appreciate what we're watching with the young talent. It really is. The team's fun to watch overall, man. And that defense, you get the feeling like that defense is just going to save the day and bail Notre Dame out of every position they find themselves in. They're just all over the place. It seems like there's 13 of them, not 11 of them. Like, our defense is playing great football. I feel like at some point you're going to have to rely on the Notre Dame offense to win you something or to do something. And I'm just not sure I trust that the way I see it. But you're fine. Like, you're fine. You're putting yourself in position, but you got to clean a lot up before next week because Army's a good team and they're very disciplined. 765 first up. My main man Martinez donated. You're coming up. Tom's coming up. He predicted a lot of this. Andrew, you donated. I got you guys too. So let's get to our points, and we'll see how many get to our points quick. We'll see how many calls we can go through tonight. 765, make it come alive. Donnie, what's up?
Hey, John. Hey, Pat.
What's going on?
Good game.
Yeah,
good game.
Yeah,
I know we had a party over here tonight, and a bunch of guys, do their sports betting, and boy, they hated that last score because a lot of them, if they got them late, it cost them their parlay. So.
Yeah, I saw some of that. I saw some of that in the chat. And oh, by the way, Donnie, I'm sure you're enjoying the LSU result too.
Absolutely. I got a buddy of mine here. He's a big, huge Notre Dame fan, and he's like, "Why are you still on Kelly?" I said, "You're not a real fan. You don't know the history and all that stuff of the coaches. Nobody leaves Notre Dame to go to another school. Nobody does that. He was the first one ever to do it. It just rubs you wrong, But John, here's what I wanted to bring up that nobody brought up. What about that one punt our punter hit?
Yeah, it was he boomed it, man. He boomed that baby. The Canadian kicker, he pulled that one out of his
Yeah, that was something else.
But the thing is, Donnie, I can't have one of those and then one that's like 30 off the edge of his freaking ankle. Sometimes, like, it's got to be a little more. It's got to be a little more consistent. Like, I'll settle for a bunch that are 50 yards than one's at 75 and another one that's 32 off of his ankle bone. You know what I'm saying?
I agree totally, but we've been hearing this crap all year. Oh, in practice, he finally showed it. He can do it.
Yeah, so that was good to see. And again, Donnie, Notre Dame's defense is the real deal. They're going to keep him in every game you play in. It's just sometimes that offense looks so bogged down at times where they just can't get anything going. And it just looks clunky and chunky and funky. And I can't figure my way out of it sometimes. Sometimes it just looks rough.
The challenge is when that first pass in the second half, Riley Leonard threw that thing 5 yards short at the guy's feet. It's like, where did this guy come from? What'd you do at halftime? Because he was playing pretty well in the first half. But when he did have some open guys and stuff, there was a lot of drops. Faison had a few. If Evans would have gone up and got that one at the 5, when he was in double coverage and he went over top of him. I mean, they did tip it a little bit. But, man, if he'd have caught that one, he'd have just walked right in the end zone. So, we should have had at least 13 more points, 2 missed field goals in that one. And then the other one was we had those 2 big plays called back.
Yep, 70 plus yards on both of them called back. Listen, man, when you could have all this stuff not go your way and still win a game that doesn't make you sweat it out, I think that shows that you're in a really good place. I just put in the chat, great win by Notre Dame. Always great to nitpick in a big win. Something like that's really how I feel is it shows you're in a good spot overall when you have all these nitpicky things and it was a game that really didn't make me raise my blood pressure. That's what I'm going to say, and I'm going to stick to it, man. It's a good sign of where we're at.
And if nobody believes that a kicker can change the game, go watch the Tennessee Notre Dame game 91.
Oh, I'm telling you.
We were smoking them at halftime, and they hurt our kicker, and a field goal anywhere and would have won it. I think it was 31-30 that game. Tennessee come back to beat us.
Yeah. You got to figure that out.
We were dominant in the first half.
You got to figure that out.
I know everybody, kickers aren't real football players and all that when they, but dude, they're an integral part of the game. We need them. Yeah, they're not they're not like the quarterback or anything else or, big running back or whatever, but we need them. We need them. They can win you or lose you games. And we do need them to win games. But, John, I've got a ton of people over here. We're having the UFC fight after this.
Oh, so, go have fun, Donnie. Donnie, go have fun. Thanks a lot for the donation, man. You always fire up the phone lines, keep the money flowing, and keep the lines open. I really appreciate you always giving me a call right after the game. I can always count on you. I want you and your family to have a good weekend. Enjoy the game. Enjoy what else you're doing tonight. Have a drink. Enjoy the NFL tomorrow. Kelly lost. Notre Dame won. Everything's good in my world, baby. I love it.
Exactly. Okay. Thanks, John. Thanks, Pat. We'll talk to you guys.
Have a good one.
Tell Mama Irish and Papa Irish who said hey.
I will. Thanks a lot, Donnie. You're the
man. Donnie.
God, I love that guy, man. I can always count on him. And
I like Donnie a lot.
He's always got something going. He was calling us from the car partying that one day on the way home.
Yeah. Well, and I met him at the tailgate.
Yeah.
And I met his daughter too. And I'm trying to help her get a job. So because she just got out of school. So I'm trying to help her out.
Nice.
Get a better job for her.
All
Donnie's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And again, he's a guy I never met in person till we at the it was the Hartman event, and he was in the parking lot. It was a good way to make that come full circle. Okay, let's see. My main man Martinez, he donated. You're coming up. Tom's coming up. 224 coming up. Everybody else, you're coming up. My main man Martinez. Notre Dame wins again. Kelly loses again.
I love it. Am I clear? Can you hear me this time?
Oh, you're crystal clear. It looks like you've been rescued from that. You got rescued from that coal mine you've been living in.
Well, I do live in Utah, bro. So, hey, yeah, what I mean by release the Cotter is when I say when Pat's talking smack to people, man, he's going off like release the Kraken.
That's when I'm talking smack. Yeah, it is kind of it is. I'm trying to tone it down, but yes.
The Cotter.
Oh, I thought you were saying you were releasing something else. And I didn't know where you were going with the Cotter, and I didn't know where that was going, so I wanted to be careful, tiptoe around.
Pat knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, my main man.
Hey,
What do you?
Great win. Great win.
What do you make of it?
The best or the prettiest, I don't want to be a downer, but yeah, we can't go into the playoffs like that. We gotta, whatever it is that we gotta fix. But the most impressive thing is that defense, man. That next man in, that relentless go to the ball, like they are insanely good, man.
Yeah. It's I'm telling you, man, this Notre Dame defense, I think, could keep them in any game with anybody they play. But you just got to tighten some things up, man. Like, I've given up on the passing offense ever looking the way I wanted to. But you could prevent the penalties and some of the sloppiness. Maybe it was just senior day, and you have one of these once in a while. Like, I'm not trying to, they're on this huge winning streak. Everything that you want to happen is in play here. Like, no catastrophe happened today. But there are things you got to clean up if you want to make a run and if you want to beat a good Army team next week. That's all.
No, I agree with you. And like I said, I don't want to backtrack always back to the week 2. You know what I mean? That's when I kind of basically had to put my foot on my mouth, tell everybody I've been arguing with for the last 2 years about Freeman. But you know what? I have to give him the respect. As far as, like I tell you, Al Washington, with all those defensive linemen getting hurt, the way he's found a way to rotate those players, man. And as far as offense, like you say, yeah, I've given up to on the deep pass thing, and let's just run the ball. Let's open them up and have that line mesh the way they can, because Joe Rudolph's done an amazing job. But as far as that, man, like I think Jaden Harrison, man, did a great job today. I really think, man, that was awesome when Graydon House went down, and it was great to see him kind of have that monster game like he did. And the defense is, like I tell you, next man in. And yeah, definitely how you're saying, Johnny. If anything that it's going to cost us here and there, definitely got to be cleaned up against Army, because they're going to come in discipline 100%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah. Johnny, I won't take up too much time. I know you got tons of callers. Hey, man, it's a great victory. Kelly lost. That's awesome. Notre Dame won. Watch this Oregon versus Wisconsin, because if they push this Wisconsin team around the way they did Michigan State, like I've been telling you, no one's beating that team.
Yeah.
No one's beating that team.
There you go.
But it's not about them. It's about the Irish. Onward, Notre Dame. Love you guys. I'm going to keep listening to the show. Okay? Let's enjoy Saturday. We got a victory.
I appreciate it. Hey, thanks a lot for the donation. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, brother. Always good talking to you. Thank you very much.
You too, Pat. Always.
Have a good one, buddy. Man, I like that. I like this. A couple of quick hitters here. Get your points in, move it and groove it. I like it, Pat. What's up?
You have nice callers, John. You have nice people call in and are fans of your show, and I have a great respect for all these people who take so much time and effort out of their day to be a fan of your show, to give you their money. Like, they're really good people.
Yeah, Dude,
until you take Gilmore's call, then I'm going to say shit to him. But
it's my favorite.
I'm kidding, Gilmore. I'm kidding.
It really is like my favorite part about doing all this is the people we've met in the community. And then when we do the live events, it all comes full circle. And it's just a beautiful thing, man. And I love this. Okay, couple more chats here, and then I'm going right back to the calls. I don't want to miss anybody with the donation here. Let me go down. Somebody's saying Wemery 269 says 1-12 on third downs. That ain't going to get it done in these bigger ball games, folks. It's just not. $20 olive from Jason. Hey, John, a tail 2 halves for sure, but still a dominant win. Collins with the drops each week is killing me. Go Irish, beat Army. There you go. Like I'm feeling like I feel like we're all kind of on the same page here, man. It's a win that wasn't particularly close. The overall mission accomplished, but there's a lot to clean up. Look at Ronald McDonald. This team is awful. Like, Pat, his moniker's a clown. So is this all a part of the troll, or does he really mean it?
Yeah, I don't.
But when your moniker's a clown, I don't know when you're serious and when you're clowning.
Yeah, I just don't pay attention to him. He's annoying at best.
I don't know. $2 dollar from Jimmy Page. Playing Leonard and Love late scares me. I don't get it. I think they want pretty points. I think Freeman feels like they need to push the ante here with the light schedule. That's what makes sense to me, Pat, is I feel like that's why these guys are late because they want to put the pedal to the metal and piss off Pat and Palm, you know?
Yeah, that's right. They are they are trying to run up the score because they know not everybody's watching their games. But yeah, it did. And that was actually something the broadcast called out. And I was kind of on the same page. It's like, what, you get a rolled over ankle on Riley Leonard and you just lost your best, offensive threat is his legs. Yeah. So you can't have him in there when the game is already in hand.
It's interesting. Look at my main man, Martinez. Andrew, sorry about being an a-hole the last few years. It's all respect. Like, I just think that's funny that my man, it took him a couple years, and now he's like, oh, I guess you're all right, Andrew. After all, I guess. If you are on hold, you're going to be on the air. Nobody hang up. We will get to you. 773.
I'll do one more call, then I'm going to bounce.
This is a good one to do, Pat, because it is Chicago's very own Tom Frawley who called a lot of the things that happened in this game. Tom, what's going on, brother?
Well, hey, guys. Look, yeah, it's a W. And there's no question in my mind that they should have definitely covered that spread. But here's one of the things that I saw that Denbrock did today that absolutely infuriated me. 12 different possessions, right? 12 of the possessions, 6 started with runs. And every time they started running the ball, they did well on those 6 possessions. The other 6, they started putzing around. He takes continuity away from the game. You don't have a quarterback that can play like that. And when is he going to wake up? You've got two unbelievable engines in our running backs. I wholeheartedly believe that Jeremiah Love could go down as the greatest Notre Dame running back I've ever seen. I love that kid. So maybe he's playing coy and he's just trying to see I don't know if he's just trying to feel him out, but it stops the continuity. Run the goddamn ball and put him away. You saw what he did in the second half then. It was about clock management. It wasn't about it. It wasn't about passing efficiency. It was clock management, and then let's get out of here with a W. That's what he was doing. I don't understand him. He puzzles me. The other thing, these refs, how can you call 5 hands to the face penalties on Notre Dame and not one on Virginia? If you're going to call those penalties, you mean to tell me those linemen on Virginia don't do the same thing?
Yeah.
My point exactly.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Those guys.
My point exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know what else, Tom?
It's infuriating when you're trying to get some things going and of course you get, oh God, the conference that they had after the fake punt. They couldn't figure that out.
That's the one I was going to say. It's the next thing out of my mouth, Tom, was if you need to have a 10 minutes conference about something, maybe you shouldn't have, you don't know enough to throw a flag on it. If it takes 10 minutes to figure it all out later, maybe you should have just let that one go. I don't know. Whatever, man. It was very frustrating. It was frustrating.
And I know that the coaches can't say much, but I'll tell you what, Bavakwa better send a message to that conference if they want to continue having that. So thank God next week when we go to play Army, it's going to be the American Athletic Conference refs.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll have Big Ten refs for the Southern Cal game. But I mean, I was watching the Clemson Pitt game today. There was horrendous officiating in that game, and both coaches were going crazy because of that. It's systemic in that league. I don't know what the hell's going on, but the way that they cost Notre Dame at least 14 points and took continuity away, that's wrong, especially for all the gamblers out there. I said on Friday that they would cover that. It would be a 42-14 game. Well, it would have been right there had those goddamn refs didn't get involved in my business.
So
I can't stand it.
Tom,
I hate beefing about refs, but when they affect the outcome of a game like that, it's wrong. It's wrong.
On the bright,
I totally agree.
On the bright side, what about Notre Dame's defense, Tom? That's a good defense.
Well, here's the other thing. So I was going to say that the defense, obviously, it's fantastic. And when you're saying, well, did they come out flat because of senior day? Well, did the defense come out flat? No.
Yeah.
They're ready to rock and roll from play one. So whatever's happening on the offense, they got to get. And hey, one more thing. I'm sorry, but the kicking thing. You know what Lou Holtz did? Remember, there was a couple of times where he had problems with kickers. He went to the soccer team.
He went to the soccer team.
Yeah.
Find a kid.
Yeah.
There's 9,000 kids on campus. You can't find a kid. How about the kid from College Game Day today that kicked the 33-yard field goal?
I was waiting for that.
You know what I mean?
That's a riot. That's hilarious. It is funny though how they have like three different guys out there. Like that was really good. That was good.
Well, there's kids in the Chicago Catholic League that can kick better than these assholes. What are they doing? I tell you, Marty Biaggi and Freeman have to have a come to Jesus moment because the special teams, and then our punter gets a boomer off. Why? Because he kicked like a traditional punter. The rest of the time, he goes back to Australian rules football, and he's kicking right, no hang time, no nothing.
Yeah.
Call the coffin corner, you moron. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, John. I want John Kennedy on here.
I'm glad I stayed.
Did you hear me just said I went John Kennedy on you, John? Tom, you're on a heater, man. You're on fire tonight, baby. You're on fire tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's so.
You're on fire tonight.
My chest.
Oh my God, this is the place. Oh, that's funny.
Thank you for the therapy session. You wouldn't have thought we won 35.
Yeah, I know. This is supposed to be a good night.
Well, it is. It is a good night because thanks be to God. Hey, I'm worried a little bit about Great House. Did that look like a separated shoulder?
I don't know what to make of it either. Did he come back? They said he was getting worked on. I don't know. They said he was getting worked on.
The other thing is Faison and Bo Collins. Concentrate, for God's sakes. Put the ball in your hands, fellas.
Yeah. There's some things to clean up. But Tom, it's good to have all these complaints in a game where you look at it and you're like, 35-14 wasn't that close of a game. Like that shows you're in a good place overall. Don't you agree to have all these complaints in a game that ended up not being that close? That's a good sign overall, Tom. It's a good sign overall.
It's kind of like a backdoor how do you do parlay for our boy down in Palm Beach, Pat, because they didn't cover today, but they won.
Yeah.
Good for you, Pat.
Yeah. Dude, you are on a roll tonight, baby. You're on a roll tonight. Oh my God. Oh.
You know, at the end of the day, if you can't have fun, hey, that's my little bit of my Irish Schadenfreude. What can I tell you?
Dude,
that's fantastic.
You dropped like 5 times in a row, man. You were on a roll tonight, baby.
Oh, that's so good.
You need to hit the streets of Chicago tonight. You need to go out. You are cooking tonight. You are hot tonight, baby. You are hot tonight.
I'd be the only guy that the Chicago police officers lock up. You can kill somebody on the streets of Chicago and not get pinched. I'd go out and start raging, and they'd lock me up and throw me in the loony bin.
Tom, you are a classic, my friend. I love you. You're a classic.
Yeah, well, you got to be sometime.
Anything else?
Right, guys, God bless. Listen,
God bless.
No. Listen, we'll figure this out about Army. Don't worry about Army. It'll be a different game. At least they've played against that option, crazy option. That quarterback scares me.
Yeah.
But they'll figure it out. I love this defense. Listen, guys, God bless. Go Irish. Have a great weekend. We'll see you later.
Care,
See you later, Tom. Oh, Pat, I'm glad you
fantastic.
stuck around for that one.
That was funny. That's just good.
Oh,
That's just pure Chicago right there.
yes, that's
It's
exactly what I
so
was gonna
that
say.
is like listening to who you crapping.
Yeah,
You know,
it is.
in the 90s, like or the high
Yeah.
noon or something like that. When you go to one of those old score shows, that was fantastic. You know, John, he brings up a good point, and I'm gonna hat tip to Gilmore right now because he's been barking about this. But you are what 12 weeks considering the buys into the season, and I don't see improvement from the wide receivers. I don't see it, and I am seeing lack of concentration. I am seeing stupid penalties. I am seeing them. Not, I don't want to say give up on plays, but they're clearly not trying to get open. And I'm always the guy that says, "Let's give a coach time. Let's give a coach time. Let's give a coach time." But Gilmore's been all over the wide receiver coach, and I think I'm starting to get on board with it because they're just not developing. They're not getting better, and it's really concerning. So either we have a serious problem with the players we're recruiting to be wide receivers, or we have a coach that is not getting them to get into the fundamental aspects of being a wide receiver and doing what they need to do.
Yeah. But it's frustrating because you're like, dude, are you going to change receiving coaches every year? Like, how do you got to?
No, I know. I'm not saying you need to fire the guy, but
continuity.
yeah, I'm like, listen, I'm not saying you need to fire the guy. I'm not that kind of person. He's only been here for a year, but there's a conversation needs to happen and say, what is happening right now that is causing us not to be better? Like we can do a retrospective on this and say, look, these guys they're still dropping balls. What does our practice look like to make sure that they're showing the level of concentration they need to show to catch the football?
That's fair.
What are we doing when how are we practicing blocking? Are we making sure they're getting, because too many times their arms are out here on the shoulder pads. If you're just inside, you can hold all you want because they're not going to call it because you're inside. The minute you're on the outside of the shoulder pad, that's a flag. And that happens at least twice a game where a wide receiver gets a holding penalty. Yeah. That stuff should be easy to fix. And the fact that we're 12 weeks into the season, it's a serious concern for this coaching staff.
How much? Let me throw this out here, and then we'll.
Riley Leonard has nothing to do with wide receiver blocking. It's more than just Riley Leonard. It's more.
See, that's what I was going to ask too. Is there frustration building in the wide receiver room because they feel like no matter what they do, rarely are they going to get the ball in stride where it needs to be placed. So then that's how you get guys that aren't finishing routes all the time, or they're frustrated. Is that a part of it, or is that an excuse?
If it's an excuse, and if that is the reason that these guys are frustrated because Riley Leonard doesn't put it on the numbers every time, you're playing college freaking football at a major college program. You're on national television every week. You mean to tell me that if the ball is slightly behind you, that's an excuse not to catch it? That's bullshit. You want to play in the NFL? You catch the ball, whatever. If that's in a radius of you, the rules when I was playing, this was when I was playing in high school, and I wasn't a good wide receiver. I couldn't catch for shit. But the rule was if it can hit your hands, you got to come down with it. So I don't care if he's hitting them in stride or not. If it's hitting your hands, you're coming down with it. And the fact that they get drops because it's slightly behind them or slightly over their head, that is lame. That is the lamest thing. And I'm sorry, guys, you're not playing on Sunday then.
Yeah. Yeah.
They moved me to defensive backfield because I couldn't catch. It turns out that when I was in high school, we didn't know this at the time, that I had a depth perception issue. So I always had my hands wrong because of the depth perception issue. Then I had LASIK, and now I could catch fine.
Whatever excuse you got to use, we'll let you retroactively use it. I also we'll get into the story about your whole team got West Nile from tackling in a big puddle full of mosquitoes, and the whole team got West Nile. That's my favorite high school football
true story. The whole team played that one.
You have anything else? I'll let you get with the family and take the rest of the calls. Anything on the way out, buddy?
No, it's great. Look, everyone be happy. Notre Dame won. Okay. Yeah. They won. They won convincingly. The game was never in doubt from the opening kickoff. So we should, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be worked on. You have 2 weeks to figure it out. No, Dr. John, I am slow as hell. I am a Brian Kelly recruit, not a Marcus Freeman recruit. but we just have to keep improving. They really need to work on this offensive stuff. I said it to Gilmore in the chat. I think there's two different levels of playoffs for teams. And right now, Notre Dame is the good enough to get their team. I don't know if Notre Dame is the good enough to advance team.
That next level.
Right. So I think Notre Dame is good enough to get there. I don't know if they're good enough to advance.
Some of that has to do with the draw too, and the matchup would help me determine, what.
Yeah, like if you draw a Penn State or an Indiana
or
a
Big
BYU
teams and not the Big Ten and the SEC.
Yeah, like who knows? It could easily fall into line where you got to go through Indiana and BYU to get to the third round. And I don't think that's a hard thing for Notre Dame to accomplish.
As opposed to a Georgia draw or something like that.
A Georgia or an Alabama or an Ohio State. If you don't get those teams, that's probably a first round elimination. But I also think that if you fix the problems on offense, I think this team can compete with anybody because it's got a championship caliber defense.
Yeah.
So you got to fix the things on offense. But I do think that if Notre Dame gets that draw, that is a home game, and you got a team that an Indiana or something like that, or you have a weak Southern team coming up, you have a shot. You have a shot to advance. But right now, I wouldn't call it an advancing team.
Yep, I think that's fair. We'll see what happens.
Right.
And Pat, I really thank you for being here. I know you got busy family stuff. Thanks for jumping in as always.
Have a good show. Take care, everyone. Go Irish.
Appreciate it. Have a good one, Pat. Tell the family
Later.
I said hi. See ya.
Will do.
Oh man. Okay, couple more super chats. If you are on hold, you're gonna be on the air. Everybody on hold's going on the air. Andrew, you're coming up 703. I got a 248, a couple 574s at 717. That is going to be the next bank up, and then we'll see where we're at. $20 holler Pilney. Indy's talent is showing on offense and defense with 2 touchdowns called back, 3 interceptions. Should be a run first offense. Leahy gave out pennants for fumbles and interceptions. Freeman needs to dole out some pennants for fumbles and interceptions. It is my favorite book. It is the Notre Dame Bible. Frank Leahy and the Fighting Irish. A couple more chats here, and then we'll get right back to the calls. Let's see, where was I? Come on, you guys. It's not really him. West Palm Pat, $10 holler. The refs did not. Is this really him? I got a feeling it's not him, but if it is, it's even funnier. Refs did not cause Indy not to cover the spread. Indy's kicker did that. Listen, you guys, you got to figure out this kicker thing. You know how I always freak out about dork kickers, that you have one job, bro. Just kick the ball. Could you imagine Notre Dame coming all the way back from their week 2 loss and they don't reach their goal because some kicker misses because you don't have a kicker? Go for it every 4th down, then plan on every 3rd down that you have 2 downs to get the 1 then. Because I'm not going out like that. $20 holler from Pilney. A close game against quality opponent will expose Notre Dame's flaws in the passing and kicking game and lack of flow in the offense. Better teams will need a much cleaner game. I think that's what everybody's saying, and I feel like that's a fair assessment, and I feel like that's where we're all at. I think that's where everybody's at, and I think it's completely fair. I'm glad we won this game. I'm glad it wasn't particularly close. You're kicking the crap out of everybody you're playing week in, week out. They're just not all that good. You're going to have to clean it up. Pilney, $20 holler. 5 suicide runs for any drop ball, 6 for any holding penalty or any personal foul. That's old school, man. That's like Little League stuff. I remember you had to run all this, and when you messed up, $2 holler from Jay. We can compete with anybody if we run the ball. There you go. And you got a couple horses. You got a couple horses to do it with. Man, I don't know. There's a lot here. I knew it was going to be like this. There's a lot to like, and there's a lot to complain about, and I think they're both fair. Andrew Gilmore is up. I got a 703 after that, 248-574 coming up. Andrew, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, John? Good to talk to you again, man.
Hey,
I think that this is
Andrew. I'm just glad
like
you're back, buddy.
of,
We were worried about you. Dude, you know you matter when people are reaching out to me behind the scenes. Like, dude, where is Andrew alive? Like, what happened to this dude? Like, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna have to email this guy and check on him because we're just kind of gone, and then everybody noticed it. So it's good to know you matter in this space, buddy.
Oh yeah, that feels great, man. It's good to hear. I'm in employee benefits, so this is our, our biggest time of the year. So, but hey, man, I think, dude, there's a lot of. I'm more, much more glass half full today because this is what a playoff team does. I mean, I think that you throw out the score. I think what really matters is game control. Like you'll hear the committee talk about game control, especially when you have a bunch of teams grouped up together, like one and two loss teams grouped together. Like Virginia, are they the greatest team in the world? No, but they're not. They're probably going to be a bowl team, and they played teams like Louisville really, really tough. Like they're not a bad football team, and we beat them convincingly. At pretty even when it was 7-0. For that long period of stretch, it never felt like Notre Dame was in trouble of it making, potentially losing the game. It was more like, hey, we're giving up big opportunities not to just blow them out. So I don't know about you. And by the way, I thought you and Pat have been right on in terms of your commentary today. And I feel like it's okay. Like I would say to all like the diehard Notre Dame fans in your chat who always want to come to Notre Dame's defense, it's okay to nitpick Notre Dame at this point because they're truly playing like a playoff team. And so if you're a playoff team, it's all about like if you really consider yourself a playoff team, you sort of have to change the narrative. It's like, yeah, we got to get there. You got to beat Army and USC. Yeah. But at this point, it's like now you're sort of judging Notre Dame off of like, can they actually run the table? And so that's where the criticism comes in.
And I think that's that is. See, but Andrew, you know how this goes. There's certain people that will jump in this live stream because Notre Dame won and they're on this big winning streak and whatever. And we had a bunch of good plays and everything. And then they see some of the negativity or hear it. And it's like, oh, can't you guys just enjoy a win or whatever? And it's like, we're already doing that. And it's a compliment to the team that the bar's higher than just did they win or didn't they lose? That's how I look at it. It is a compliment to be nitpicking things at the level we are for what could come. That's how I look at it. You're in a good position when you could do that.
Definitely. And I always think back to like when I first became a fan of your show, like I think I listened to you before it, but I think when we first started talking was when Notre Dame got their butts kicked by Alabama in the 2020 playoff. And it was like, it was so apparent that Notre Dame did not belong to be on the field or they just shouldn't have been on the field with Alabama that day. And so I think that is where the criticism is coming. Like, are they a legitimate playoff contender or are they just, going to win enough games to qualify for the playoff? And so, where I come down is this, I even though the 2018 Notre Dame team is totally different than this team, I feel like they're sort of similar in a lot of ways because like Notre Dame was a legit top 10 team in 2018. The problem for Notre Dame back then was there was no chance that they could beat a team like, Trevor Lawrence, Clemson, the loaded Alabama teams, like the loaded Ohio State teams at that time. The good news for Notre Dame is I don't think anybody this year is anywhere near as loaded as some of the teams that Notre Dame had to go up against in 2018 and in 2020. So maybe that's Notre Dame's saving grace. I don't know, but I think that you and Pat sort of are hitting the nail on the head that the one like sin of the Notre Dame football team, and I know you don't like Brian Kelly, but the one thing that Marcus Freeman took over that was like the biggest glaring weakness for Notre Dame was the wide receiver core. And I do think it's somewhat troubling that this deep in the season, at this point, I would love your commentary on this, despite some nice plays by Bo Collins, like here and there, it looks like a Marshall transfer, a guy who's really supposed to be a kick returner, is truly Notre Dame's best deep threat in the wide receiver corner. I just don't know if that gets the job done in January when you need to win 4 or 5 games in a row and everybody knows that you just got to pack the box to stop your 2 running backs and the quarterback. I don't know if that gets it done. Maybe they do get it done. And I think that you saw a glimpse at like if there's one criticism I have of Denbrock, it's not really that he threw the ball so much today, because I think he sort of had to because of all the ridiculous penalties the offensive line was getting. They were playing behind the chains like quite a bit. You can't, when it's 2nd and 15, you just can't just run the ball up the middle. You've got to like throw the ball a little bit. So, so like I think he had to do that. But where are the playmakers on the outside? Because like it just doesn't match up, right? I mean, you've got really great running backs. You've got an offensive line coming together. On defense, you have a bunch of studs. And then you look at the wide receiver core, and it's just like, it doesn't add up. Like, the wide receivers don't add up to the rest of the team. And I think that if they can run the table and do what they're supposed to do, beat USC, and they make the playoff, and we don't get to where we want to get once we make the playoff, I think our conversation will be that the wide receivers were the ones that dropped the ball.
Let me guess. Andrew, let me guess. Here's what it's going to be. Tell me if you've heard this before. The Notre Dame defense did enough to keep us in the game, but then the offense faced a really good defense, and you are one-dimensional, and you can't get away with that against a good defense. And then for that reason, you go 3 and out a bunch of times or whatever, and then the defense gets worn out, and then you lose the game against a good team. I've seen that 20 different times. I've seen it 20 different times.
You know what it could amount to is remember the first weekend of the year against Ohio State in 2022. It's
you were in it.
Like Notre Dame had the best game plan ever in that game. Yeah. They were leading through 3 quarters, and then they got worn down because Ohio State was like, you were not going to run the football on us. And we just had we had zero answer. And I think that a lot of the teams like the SEC, like they have real defensive lines. And like you even saw today, like UVA, like gave Notre Dame's offensive line some problems, especially in the middle. And so it's like, dude, if UVA is giving you some problems, what's going to happen when you play Texas?
All right.
What's going to happen when you play?
Here's the other side of it. Here's the other side of it. The other side of this is, let me try and just balance this out. The other side of this is you have a really, really, really good defense, and you have a quarterback who could do a lot with his legs, at times or whatever. So maybe you should look at it as, you know what you're good at. You're going to lean into it. And then when you get into those games, you just hope you find a way to make just enough plays. Like you can't expect the passing to be the greatest game on turf or whatever they call the passing offense or whatever. Like maybe you just have to rely that you have this really good defense and then hope you could just do enough in those games. Because I don't think you're just going to magically get a great wide receiver core. You're just going to have to find a way to do enough. And I don't know if that's going to be enough or not.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that like some of the positives that I take away from this game in terms of how we move forward are like, you got to figure out how to manufacture big plays and points other ways. Like for all the criticism, and there's been a lot of criticism of the special teams this year, you have to give it up to the special teams guy. Like that big punt play was pretty awesome, man. Like, so like that, like, you have a special teams coordinator that might be able to dial up something cool. Like if we play like a big time team, because that was a freaking awesome fake punt, regardless of it being called back. And then secondly, like I taking away more from that play, my question to Denbrock is, like, Faison looked so dynamic in the open field, running with that ball. Like how, like my thought is, you've seen what you can get out of these wide receivers. Why can't you figure out a way to get Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, and Faison on the field at the same time? It's like, I know it's not conventional, but like, can you work? Like, let's say you get through Army and USC, you get a little bit of a break for a few weeks. Can we figure out how to get those dudes on the field at the same time?
Doesn't it make
sense? Those are the only guys who can take the ball and actually do something with it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yep. I totally get it. And at a minimum, it gives a defense more to worry about, more to think about. And those are all the guys you have that anytime they touch the ball, something good's going to happen. I'm with you on all of that, man. I'm with you. Anything else, Andrew? It's just good to hear from you again, buddy. Glad to have you back.
Yeah. I will just end on that. I thought Kyle Hamilton was probably the best defensive back that I had seen in a really, really long time. Like, I'm biased because I know Shane Walton from the early 2000s. He's from San Diego, and he's a personal friend of mine. He was an All-American cornerback for Notre Dame. He was great. But is Xavier Watts like an all-time great Notre Dame football player? Like for even though he won that award last year, like I think he might not get enough credit. And that other safety is really awesome too. Like it's totally unsurprising now that they decided to start him over the Northwestern transfer. He made a huge play in the first half, almost scored a touchdown. But man, Xavier Watts is like an all-time great Notre Dame football player. He should Notre Dame doesn't retire jerseys and stuff like that, but he should be all-time remembered as he should be, even though like he won't get drafted in the first round the way that Kyle Hamilton did, but that guy is a stud. He plays every freaking play, and just like he had 7 interceptions last year. Now he's a known commodity, and now he's got 4 picks this year, and probably could have had more. Like that guy's a stud, man, and he deserves to like go down in the echelon of like truly a big time Notre Dame football player, one of the best defensive backs in Notre Dame history.
Yeah, it's fun watching this defense and that secondary especially. It's great. So Andrew, thanks for calling. Thanks for donating. It's good to have you back, buddy. We were worried about you. Glad you're alive.
Thanks, Sean. Have a good one.
Have a good one, buddy. Oh, man, we got good callers here. If you're on hold, you'll be on the air. 703 next, 248, couple, and then I got 3 574s. So, or 3 4. I got a bunch of 574s. Homer TD, $5. Thank you, Andrew. You bring some sense to this pile of wine. Again, here, Tony, it's good to see you, buddy. Here's where I'm at. Again, I'm going to repeat this. It tells you how good your team is when you have a win that looks this lopsided on the scoreboard and you're sitting there with a list of complaints and things to clean up and things you're worried about. That means you're in a good place, you guys. That means you're in a good, I want to make sure, I want to be responsible in my framing of all this. I want to be responsible with my framing of all this. And what I'm saying is, it is a sign that you have a really, really good thing going when you win by this score and you still have a bunch of complaints. That's a good thing. And I argue, it's like, oh, you're being negative, blah, 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 blah. But no. Listen, if you got real plans on being a real playoff contender, this stuff needs to get cleaned up. It's fine to bring it up. Like it's almost a compliment to expect better level of play, even though you won 35-14 and you expect a better level of play. It's almost a compliment. It's almost a compliment. And again, Pat's right. I'm thinking of the playoff in USC. You can't be playing this sloppy next week. And you know what? I don't think they will. I think this was a weird final home game, whatever. You know what else I'm not happy about, callers? I'm coming to you. 703-248-574 is coming up. I got to tell you, Jimmy, Florida, God bless you. I don't think I've ever seen your name before. LSU loses again. You're welcome here, Jimmy, Florida. I got to tell you, I was telling everybody who would listen, watch out for Florida this week, because the LSU people started looking at the math of how they can maneuver back in to the SEC championship game. It was almost like they were taking Florida for granted, and you're coming off a bad loss. You're going on the road in the SEC, and Brian Kelly's running your stupid program. There ain't nothing to trust. Johnny was right again. Anyways, it's a compliment that you're in this position to be able to complain. It really is a nice thing to be able to do when you got this kind of win. West Palm Pat, $10 holler. ND's playing excellent defensive football, but the reason for these lopsided scores is the transfer portal and NIL has gutted ACC rosters, resulting in this ND schedule being comically weak. Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. And again, here's what I'm going to say about that schedule. Man, I understand. I totally understand. I understand Notre Dame's schedule is not that tough this year, but I'm still going to keep saying it is not our fault Florida State and USC are not as good as they should be. It is not our fault that Florida State and USC are not good. They were on the schedule. And you know what else isn't our fault? We tried to schedule Miami. And then they said, it's like they had a hot date for the weekend. And, I can't fit you in that week. I'm too busy or whatever. Oh, I know. How do you want anybody to come to our place to open the year next year, though? Pisses me off. Anyway, 703 and then 248-574s. 703, you're talking to me. You're on the line. What's going on?
What a wonderful day for Notre Dame.
Oh, I'm telling you. Listen, man, there is nothing that makes my Irish heart more content than a ball game Notre Dame wins and Brian Kelly loses on the same day. It is the gift that keeps giving. I'll never get sick of it. I don't need Santa Claus to come. Just give me that. I love it.
I was at the basketball game earlier today where we beat the crap out of Georgetown. That was fun. And then to see a non-anxiety-inducing victory with DK losing is great. But we got to figure out the kicker. The kicker situation is bugging me. We got to figure out something to get a kicker because we don't want what happened to like Ohio State when they lost to Georgia on the missed kick. Like that can't happen.
Okay, so wait, Jeter's hurt, but he was out there. Am I dreaming or was he not out there, but they're saying he's still hurt? And then it wasn't only one other person, but it was a second. So they had 3 kickers and you better figure it out. I don't know, but you better figure it out. I have no patience for special teams malfeasance. If you've been around here a long time, you know that. I have no patience for special teams mistakes. None. 0.
I did love the fake punt, though. I mean, it should have counted, and we would have covered, but, I mean, doesn't matter.
It was beautiful. That was a brilliant play. Brilliant. It was well executed, and it really does. I understand why Freeman is so upset because he told the refs before the game, if you see some bizarre punt thing from us, here is what we're doing. And he explained to them exactly what they were going to do so that the refs were not like totally surprised and like, since it's weird, we better throw a flag. Freeman did the mature thing a good coach does, telling the refs to look for that before the game. And they said, oh, yeah, that's a legal play. And then right when we do it, they say it is illegal. What gives?
Mm-hmm. I don't understand these ACC refs, man, but like as long as we don't get any in the playoffs and we win all of our games, I can't complain too much.
Yeah, I want to know, okay, let me ask you this. 2 questions. Number 1 is, what do you feel about Notre Dame's defense? Those guys are playing good ball. And the second question is, compared to that, what do you feel about the Notre Dame offense? Those are my 2 questions.
I mean, I'm not worried at all about the defense. Like, I'm not stressed at all about this Army game because I know our defense will be able to stop the option. We're going to have a chance in any round 1 game we play because of our defense, especially if it's at home.
Yep.
And then the offense just, I mean, it's better. The line play is frustrating. Coogan, you can't do those holding penalties. That can't happen. No illegal hands to the face, no holdings. And receivers got to step up. Hopefully Greathouse isn't hurt, but Bo just can't. No more drops. Harrison looks good. Maybe I would like to see them use Cam Williams, like at least get him out there. But it's stressing me out a bit. But
yeah, it's just.
I mean, they've always been doing enough.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can step it up and have some big runs.
Yeah, it's
once we get to the playoffs.
Yeah, it's really, I'm telling you though, the way this defense is playing with so much confidence, you would like to think they could keep you in any game or whatever. I think you got to lean in to Price and Love, and then Riley Leonard is that little X factor, unpredictable with your legs guy. You got to lean on that because you know it's good enough and you know it could work for you. And then if you could just build a little something off of that works, either a tight end pass game or find some rhythm with their couple receivers. Like there's just, you feel like there's got to be a next level, a little something else that clicks here. But again, I want to say these are all luxuries, man. Notre Dame has been kicking the crap out of everybody they're playing. And like, I get the complaints about the teams we're playing aren't the best. Well, then you need to beat them handily, and that's what we're doing. So they're playing good ball, man. It's never enough, right? You always want to find a way to get better. It's never enough. There's always something.
And I've been looking at, I really want us to host a playoff game. And I mean, Georgia's not doing us any favors right now. They look awful against Tennessee, but that's just one other thing I'm looking at. Just if we can get that, if we can host a playoff game in Notre Dame Stadium. Especially if it's in the cold against a team from the South.
Yeah. It's, dude.
Make them suffer.
Think about this. The 248-574 coming up. this whole playoff thing, there's so many random things about it that would make you feel good about. Like if Notre Dame gets a home game, that is an amazing benefit to start out with. If they draw a team that isn't like the SEC or Alabama or like something, you're like, there's so much that could be for you or against you here, man. Whatever bracket you're in, that first round draw, and is it at home? Like it could range from an easy path to game 3 to you could be dead game 1. That's the range of outcomes there, depending on the draw and the bracket.
Mm-hmm. And BK was. I think they're turning on BK, the LSU fans. Like it's so great to watch. Like they were. Like we told them, we warned them, and they just did not listen to us at all.
Nope, they wouldn't. Dude, it's so frustrating, man. Like we genuinely told them, you guys you're gonna start getting mad at this guy because he's gonna gaslight you at the podium until you believe it, and then the results aren't gonna match it, and you're just gonna be frustrated, and the media is gonna fall for all of his flies, his fancy suits, and his slick talking Northeast political bull crap and standard this, and we need to coach better that, and this and that. There's something about the guy. They didn't want to listen, man. They had to learn the hard way. Oh, John, you're jealous. You're just jealous. We stole your man. This is real football down south. You don't know nothing about football. This is real football. And if you get that guy out of Indiana and Notre Dame, then he'll be great because this is real football. You don't know what you're looking at. Okay, look at you now.
8-4 couldn't be us this season. Could not be us.
Dude, that's a lot of losses for LSU. That ain't going to be. And here's the other problem with it, too. They're trending the wrong way. Like when you look at the big trend, like your first year was the best year. Like that's the problem. The natural thing would be like you go 7-5 year 1 with the crap roster. People understand, and then you build it up, and then you go 9-3 the second year, and the next year you're 10-2. Like people want to see progression upwards. They're trending the other way. And my argument with this is what happens a lot of times. It takes a while for Brian Kelly to ruin your culture and kill your will to win. So that's why year 1 was the best year. And the longer he's there, the more it's going to kill their will to win because it's what Kelly does.
We'll see what happens to Kelly if he gets. I think he gets fired next season. Honestly, in my opinion,
it's too much money, man. Are they really going to do that? The 10-year deal, it's like his $65 million buyout. Him and Jimbo are going to go on vacation together. It's like, I mean, come on. That's like $120 million with those two guys, man. Like they're in a rough spot, man. They're in a rough spot. So I don't know. Not my problem.
Yeah, not my problem. All right. Appreciate it, John.
No problem, man.
Beat Army next week.
Oh, you got to tighten it up, buddy. Army doesn't make these mistakes. We got to tighten some things up, man. And I'm confident that we will. We're not gonna. We've come too far now, and that defense is gonna. That defense, I trust. Hey, I really appreciate the call, man, and good job by you being able to support Notre Dame basketball and football. Good job. That's a hell of a day.
Yeah, great day. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Have a good one, buddy. That's a really good day. ND isn't even the best team from Indiana. Who says Indiana wins? I'm being totally honest. I have no idea how good Indiana is because they have at least we played A&M, which is like one team with a lot of real like SEC talent. I want to see what Indiana does against Ohio State and then make a judgment then. 248, you're on the line. What's going on?
Hey, John, it was a great game, a really fantastic game. And for the first time this season, we shut out the other, maybe not Purdue, but for the first real team, we shut out the other team for the first half, which was epic.
Hey, Notre Dame's defense is the real deal, and those guys fly, man. They are flying around. They're playing with so much confidence. They're flowing to the ball. It felt, the first half to me, man, it felt like we had like 13 guys out there because there was always a Notre Dame guy somewhere. It was really beautiful to see. That defense is doing a great, great job.
Yeah, going off that, the first half, it really felt like a night game. And the grad student section was amazing. Everyone was pumped up, and it was really great. But then I feel like the students started getting annoyed because of the refs and like the fake punt. That was cool, but it got called back, and the refs literally in the stadium they played Jeopardy while they would decide
Well, dude,
what the call was.
if it takes you 10 minutes to figure it all out, maybe you shouldn't throw a flag then, because it can't be that obvious there is a problem if you're going to take that long to figure it out. It just bothers me. Those refs are just – the problem with it all starts with Notre Dame letting the other team's refs come in here all the time. And I know we're a half ACC member or whatever. I just hate that we let the other team bring their conference people in there. So when you play Ohio State at your place, they're bringing Big Ten refs. I've never liked that. I thought Notre Dame should make it a requirement that it isn't have anything to do with the visiting team. It should be a neutral officiating crew that's on a bye from any other conference that comes and does Notre Dame games. I don't know why they keep agreeing to it, but they do. They always have, as long as I can remember.
I agree. And the first Virginia drive where they scored a touchdown, I didn't see it, but like I think that could have been an incomplete pass on that long throw. Like, and that wasn't even reviewed.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The officiating's, tell me if you agree. The officiating, I feel, has been poor all year. I feel like there's just been bad officiating around the country, and too many refs that want to. It feels like they want to make the game about them. I'm sick of it.
Yes, I 100% agree. And there were so many penalties on Notre Dame. Yes, some were probably deserved, but like so many like hands to the face, like you said previously, and like none called on the other team. And it was like the students were like, "Can this game be over?" Like this felt like a really long game to the students, especially in the first half of the third quarter. Like the students during the first half, it was like a night game, but they're like, we're up by 28 and 35. They're like, can this game just be over so we can get back to doing homework and not listening to these refs?
Yeah, it's man, whatever. Hopefully, here's the thing though. Hopefully there's another home game in Notre Dame Stadium. This is the first time in the history of my life and your life that we've been able to say that. It was senior day and the game's over, and I'm saying I hope there's still another game to be played at Notre Dame Stadium, man. That's really cool to say.
Exactly. And Notre Dame is a great team, and yeah, we may complain about the refs, but even with the refs, we were able to convincingly win the game.
Yeah. Yep.
Which I think is just great.
Yep, you're right. So there's some things to clean up here, but things are going well, and you'll clean it up a little bit to face Army, and then we'll get ready for USC. Hey, man, I really appreciate the call. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the final point going out here.
Sure.
I think we'll beat Army, but we should watch out for them, especially if they're in the driver's seat next week. We'll see how this game goes now that Boise State is losing to San Jose State in late second quarter.
Ooh.
We'll see how that game turns out.
Interesting. Thanks for letting me know that. Have a good one, buddy. Good call. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Take care. I mean, that's how you know Notre Dame. Did you catch what he said in there? That's how you know Notre Dame kids after the football game, they go back and study. If it's me after a football game, where's them 90 Miller Lights? And we're going out tonight. Like, I just... Like, I totally respect it, but did you guys catch that when he said, we just wanted the game to get over so we could go back and study? And I'm just picturing if it's me and Notre Dame's winning, I'm drinking 90 Miller Lights, give me a black and mild, and we're talking to some ladies. Like, I don't know. God bless these smart Notre Dame people. I'm telling you what, buddy. I'm telling you what. Oh, that's so great. 484, what's going on? 574 coming up. What's going on, 484?
Hey, Yanni boy, what's going on?
What's going on? I'm in a good mood. Notre Dame wins. Yeah,
You know what?
Notre Dame
I'm in
wins,
a good mood.
and Brian Kelly fails.
Brian
Nothing.
Kelly lost.
Woo!
That son of a bitch lost.
Yep.
I'm happy too, but I got a couple of complaints I want to
Okay.
talk about.
All right.
You know what? I think this ACC officiating, it is pure trash. They suck. Period. How
Yeah.
the hell can you call 5 hands to the face on us and not call nothing against them?
Yeah.
I mean, where are they getting these clowns from? Foot Locker? Is that where they're getting these vets from? They gotta go back
ACC.
to,
We let the
As
other we let the opposition bring in their conference refs, but the officiating has been poor. It has been poor all year across the country. I've been very frustrated with the officials, and like there's no consistency. They just like pick times to call stuff, pick times to not call stuff, and then like I don't know,
no
man.
consistency whatsoever.
Yeah, and that's frustrating. So at least you won, but I will say this. A lot of those offensive penalties, there were some holding. Like they did deserve a lot of. We did deserve a lot of these penalties.
Yeah, we got to clean that up.
Yeah,
we got to clean that up. And all.
Yeah, some of them. I'm not saying all of them. Some of them we did deserve. So let's be honest about that.
Yeah.
Some of those holds and stuff you did deserve.
Yeah, and then offensively, I mean, our running game is awesome. Our backs, I would just wish you give it the ball more to Love and Jadarian Price. But I do like the freshman though. What's his face?
Aeneas Williams.
Yeah. He's going to be a good one. And then we got that Keedron Young. He's going to be a good one too. But I with their passing game, it's like, yeah, like with Denbrock, we got him from LSU, and like, do they ever run concepts where you do like a slang and go or a pump, like a? I just don't understand their passing game. It's like the same. They get stagnant sometimes when you're watching on offense. It's like the same routes, and it's just there's no creativity. And I thought Denbrock. I mean, he still could possibly can. Where's with the deep seam routes or the crossers? Yeah, like I just it's just frustrating. I want to see more out of it, and like especially like when Riley's passing and like they know they're coming at us. It's like, don't they, like Holtz used to love doing this? Slip out the back, do like a back would go out and they would cut right in the middle of the field, and then you pop that and it would go for like a touchdown or go for a lot of yards. Or like, don't we have like this that when they're coming after him, he just keeps dropping back and there's no like hot routes or anything. No, you know what I mean? Like we have nothing in our arsenal. Like when they see they're coming with a blitz, it's pathetic. It's like they got to get their shit together, because I mean, I think we're gonna beat Army, we're gonna beat USC, and then we're gonna make the playoffs. But I mean, when you go up against like I said, you go up like another offense where we got to go toe to toe with them. I mean,
it's so. I mean,
right now
you could think of like sometimes I've thought this. How far can that really, really, really good defense, the two running backs and the quarterback's legs, how far could that take you? But that's like where my mind's at, right? Like those seem to be the things we're best at. And I wonder sometimes how far can those things take you before you need to find another level to what you bring to the table? Like that has been something that's on my mind lately.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to see more out of these receivers. Like, yeah, we did have a lot of drops, man. They gotta catch these balls too, man. There was a lot of drops too.
Yeah, there was.
I just don't see like you know how Denbrock, we're gonna have more like motion and like misdirection plays and like set up, and it just seems like it's the same old run up the middle. Like when Notre Dame gets those big runs, they're running off tackle and stuff, and like Jadarian Price, that one where he took it to the house.
Yeah,
they went to the outside, he cut back in, and he was gone. It's like, I don't see that get cleaned up.
And so, you know, I want to think in the back of my mind that Mike Denbrock has some things up his sleeve that he could go to or whatever. But a part of me wonders if we would have seen it already, you know. But Denbrock's such an experienced guy. It makes me wonder if he's got a wrinkle or two that he's holding for later on. And maybe that's just wishful thinking by us because we want the pass game to look more dynamic. I'm not sure now, but I do wonder, man. I'm like, sit there sometimes and go, just how far can a really elite defense and a good run game with two backs and a quarterback that has some wheels himself, How far can that take you in a playoff? And I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer, but it's in my mind. It's on my mind.
You know what I'm wondering too? I don't know if you are too. If like next year when we get if they don't go in the portal and you see like you have CJ Carr or Kenny Minchey, guys that know that can go through our progressions and read, like, I wonder if that, because like sometimes Riley, he doesn't go through his progressions at all and stuff. And I wonder if it's going to be different, you know?
Yeah. I just think you got to find something else to bring to the table to make it through the deeper rounds of this playoff. I think you could do what you're doing. You could do what you're doing now. If you catch a good round 1 or 2 draw, Notre Dame could win those games.
I agree.
That's how I'm thinking this. Doing what we're doing now, Notre Dame could win a couple rounds if they get the proper draw that's favorable. But if you happen to line up and it's like one of those SEC teams or something, I just think you're going to have to expand what your offerings are offensively to be able to beat some of those teams. Maybe I'll be proven wrong or whatever, but that's just what my inclination is. So we'll see what Notre Dame could draw up. Again, though, these are luxuries. These are luxurious complaints. These are complaints you can only have. These are complaints you only have when you're in the clubhouse with a good, solid win and you're looking at getting better and like these are high-end concerns. And I want to make sure that's the undertone of this show is knowing all these complaints are under the premise that we got the win we needed and the winning streak continues, baby.
Oh, yeah. Well, what pisses me off, too, Riley, when we're at the goal line, you got to put more air over it. And then it got tipped. That would have been a touchdown, and he knew it. It's like, oh, man. There's so many little things like that. And, oh, man, he's frustrating to watch sometimes.
Yeah, what is this? Dante saying observation. This might be the first time I've seen John without an ND shirt on. Do you not see this big ND on the shirt? Dante, what do you mean? Look at this. I got an ND on here. What is that not Notre Dame enough? Come on. Anyways, caller, here's
another thing I got with about people our schedule. Who gives a shit? That's our schedule. There's a couple good teams that are on there that we have top 25 wins. Hey, it is what it is. That's not our problem.
Yeah.
We go out there and dominate. I'm tired of hearing about that too.
Yeah.
And then Notre Dame would be in this conference. Well, guess what? You know what? We're not. That's not our problem.
But here's the problem with this is we tried to play Miami. We wanted to play Miami instead of exactly. So then they wussed out of that game and then want to make us go there to start next year. So Miami was going to be on the schedule. And again, I'm going to default to saying it is not Notre Dame's problem or fault that Florida State and USC are not good at football. Those are brand name helmets on your schedule that get no respect for you playing. It isn't our fault.
Well, yeah, 100% right.
So whatever, man. And you know, here's the other way to think about this. I don't know if you are on Twitter or not the way I am trolling all the time. Here's the way this goes, man. When Notre Dame is perceived by the rest of the college football landscape to be a real threat, that's when you start seeing the tweets about Notre Dame doesn't belong. Look at their schedule, blah, 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 blah. If people are not, you're not worried about us at all, you don't see as many of them. When I always tell people that whenever you see more and more people complaining, that's when you're a threat.
Jealousy will get you nowhere in life. We're Notre Dame and you're not.
I'm telling you, man, that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. Hey, man, I really appreciate the call. Anything on the way out? Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Notre Dame wins. Brian Kelly loses. What a great Saturday night.
I got one more thing to say.
Okay.
If loving Notre Dame's wrong, well, guess what, Johnny boy? I don't want to be right.
Ooh,
go Irish.
I like that. Sing it to me, baby. I like it. Sing it to me, baby. Have a good weekend, man.
Go Irish down forever.
There you go. I love it. Have a good man. I have good callers. I have such nice callers. Look at this. I believe we got West Palm Pat here. We're going to do 574, and then we're going to West Palm Pat. Sorry, John. The issue with the schedule is that we don't have enough quality opponents to make up for the NIU loss. We have to win out or we're out. I don't disagree with that, Andrew. What are you sorry to me? I'm not in denial that the schedule is not that tough. But I'm also saying that Notre Dame isn't the only one responsible for that problem, is what I'm saying. right? Like, there's no denying that it hasn't been a murderer's row. I'm just saying that isn't all by Notre Dame's choice of like Notre Dame trying to wiggle out of playing tough teams. $10 hour. ND students do not go back and study after the game. That dude really does, though, West Pump. That guy's a grad student, and I'm pretty sure he does. Like, I think that guy does. 574, what's going on? West Palm Pat next. What's going on?
Intercept you. You got to take it from me, X. You got to intercept you. You got to take it from you.
I like that. That's really, really good. You going to record that? You got to get in the studio, baby.
Hey, I'd skateboard today if I could.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man, it's this defense is really enjoyable to watch. It feels like there's 13 of them out there, not 11.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I never heard this. I was at the game. I never heard the fans boo for that long. I mean, they booed the brakes off those refs. They made they gave them hell, and I loved it.
Dude, it's just, you can't. They just try and like take over the game sometimes and make it about them. Like, you're doing too much, man. You're doing too much.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I do not blame Freeman at all. If you were there, maybe you didn't see it. Freeman was heated when they called back the fake punt thing.
My seats were behind me as I see
He was
Freeman and the
pissed.
players. They are furious.
Yeah.
They were letting those refs have it.
Yes. He was pissed, and they are saying that Freeman told those refs before the game, watch for this. We're going to do this. Don't be surprised by this. We know it's legal. Don't be surprised by it, whatever. And they threw a flag anyways. I guess look at it this way. Be thankful we won by enough that didn't end up costing Notre Dame the game or anything like that. But it is still very frustrating. And I do understand the people that wanted Notre Dame to cover, and you're mad about if some people are mad about the gambling aspect. I get it.
Well, maybe I don't gamble. But I'm going to say this. We met. Hold on, let me get my thought back. I say this. I do wonder if those were the same replacement refs in the NFL from, what was it, 14 years ago?
Dude, I don't know where they come from. The ACC. That's all I know.
And I was starting to think we had the replacement refs from the NFL back in 2012.
I don't know.
Did they know what the hell they were doing?
I don't know.
Oh.
It's just, I think like Pat said in the beginning of the show, it isn't necessarily that the calls that were called against Notre Dame, it was how unbalanced it was. It was how unbalanced it is. How are they all against Notre Dame and not any on the other side? Like, that's the problem, is that it was like, it just felt unbalanced.
You got me. But I'm going to say this. It really bothers me. I mean, I can understand they didn't have that much time, but at the same time, and I get it. He did put on the uniform 63 times and played in the uniform and started in the uniform 63 times. But you know who it deserved an interview? The Bronco Nagorski Award winner who came back for his senior day. He deserved to have an interview too.
That's a good one.
He was making interceptions. He was taking the ball away. He killed the Heisman winner, making him the Heisman killer. And he just tried to avoid acknowledging him. What is wrong with the media?
This is a
Are
good.
you mad?
That's fair.
Are you mad that he killed Caleb Williams? Are they still bitter about that?
Yeah,
I mean,
that.
It's not.
I like this.
It really pissed me off.
I like it. I like that. But hey, Brian Kelly lost. Doesn't that make you feel better? That makes you feel better about the refs, don't it? I know.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so immature. But like, I literally go make popcorn. I get my popcorn and I sit there and watch.
Fans are talking trash.
Oh, I know.
And came back to haunt them.
Oh, I know. Hey, they're not done losing yet. Maybe Vandy will catch him next. Get to 5 losses, then we'll really be cooking.
Keep doing the same thing again. We keep doing the same thing again.
Oh man, it's great. It's really, really, it's fantastic. Anything else, my friend? Thanks for calling. I like you getting angry. It's healthy for you.
Yeah. I hate the cold weather. You know why? And we have no indoor parks, but and also, I think
And another thing is, Xavier Watts, there's quite a few games I'll remember him for. I mean, obviously USC, where he did the Caleb Williams. But another game people don't want to talk about him much was the Louisville game where he stopped Louisville 3 times on 4th down.
Yep.
And, oh, yeah, did you see that picture Kevin sent you? That was me. I took him to the Florida State game last week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Did you like that hat I was wearing?
I did.
You were wondering where that got that, but there was one problem. They don't make that hat no more, I don't think.
Dude, I love that kind of stuff you can't get.
Yeah, and why didn't somebody ever give that hat to Lee Corso for every time they came to Notre Dame after they made that hat? I mean, that would be a better mascot hat for him than the Leprechaun hat, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's man, you yeah, I do like that. I like all that stuff. I buy a bunch of one-offs on eBay, try and buy stuff nobody else has. So I don't know, man. You got to clean up some stuff, but it's a good win. It's a good weekend in Notre Dame land. Clean it up. Get ready to go to New York. Play a cleaner, tighter ball game. Get that win, and then all of your attention goes to the West Coast and to LA. So, buddy, I appreciate the call and keep representing. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's win these last 2. It's up to them.
There you go, baby. Have a good one. Thank you very much for the call. We're going to do West Palm Pat here. He's coming up. Drunk Vigo says, LSU fans are saying BK is so lazy. Wow. I wonder where that perception comes from. If only someone would have warned them. Maybe they would have understood that before now. It's unbelievable. It offended me that those people thought I was lying when I said you're going to have problems with it. You guys got LSU SEC standards. Kelly wants to golf. So, whatever, man. People hate BK, but look how Freeman loses also. Okay, well, these tenures are trending in opposite directions, Mag. Kelly's best year was his first year, and they're going downhill ever since with more losses each year. Freeman's going the other way. So you don't really have a lot to stand on here. These arrows are pointing opposite directions. They are. I understand Freeman lost to Northern Illinois, but look at objectively look at what has happened with the arrows, wins and losses. Not my opinion. It's a problem when you take over a new place and your best year is your first year, and then every other year you get worse. That's a red flag. At least Freeman's going up. Anyways. Oh, one more from Andrew, and then we'll go back to the calls. John, do you ever worry about jinxing Notre Dame when you celebrate Kelly losses? I do because I'm superstitious. Yes, I do. 100%, Andrew. Andrew, you've been around here a long. You know how neurotic I am. You don't think I worry about that? You don't think I worry about that? I worry about it all the time. But you know what, Andrew? Damn it. It is so rare in a Notre Dame fan and especially a content creator's life. It is so rare that Notre Dame is ever in the position to troll anyone else in the college football landscape. I decided a long time ago, you got to take advantage of it whenever you get it because it's fleeting and it barely happens. You got to take advantage when you can as a Notre Dame fan. So I dump on it whenever I can. And when we mess up, I just take and they come at me, and that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. But Andrew, I mean that. I've thought about this long and hard. And that's my conclusion is it's so rare that we have any leverage or bragging room or rights at all. You got to take advantage of it. You got to take advantage of it when you can. And then when we lost to Northern, they were in here trolling me and Blake was trolling me. It's the way it goes. It's just the way it goes. West Palm Pat, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, John, it's Pat from West Palm.
Is it really you in the chat? I want to make sure we verify that that's not somebody having fun with the group. Can we verify that's really you?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay,
was me.
Good.
I was going to be a wise guy and respond to your chat that said, "Is this a troll account or the real West Palm Pat?" I was going to say both.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
No.
That's actually a really good answer. But
No,
I wanted to make
I just-
sure that we knew that we were really dealing with you and it wasn't somebody having fun with it. So thanks for the donation, brother.
No, not at all. I just learned how to do this yesterday. Every time I tried to pass it, tried to make me start up a YouTube channel or something or other. I'm not good with the technology, but I figured it out yesterday.
Awesome, man. Well, that's
so we're
beautiful. And now everybody knows when you're here loud and clear. What's on your mind, man? Notre Dame with the win. The winning streak rolls along.
Yeah, it's funny. For the last month, I've been kind of angry at Marcus Freeman. I think you know why.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I watch these games, and for the last month or so, I watch a game, and I'm always like, wow, that opposing quarterback really stinks. And then the following week, I'm like, wow, that opposing quarterback really stinks. After a certain period of time, you have to just concede
that it might
Notre
be
Dame's
us.
defense is making these guys look terrible.
Yeah, it might have something to do with it. Dude, they're playing really, really good football. It is really hard to ignore how good they're playing. And they're not even at full strength. This defense would be next level if they had full absolute health or near it. They're doing a good job. They're flying around, man.
No, it's funny. The one team, once Benjamin Morrison went down, the one team I was like, well, I hope we don't face them, was the Miami Hurricanes. Because the Hurricanes go 4 deep at the wide receiver position. I mean, those wide receivers are excellent. I mean, they're like Alabama 2020 excellent. And I was like, wow, if we don't have Morrison, we're only going to go 2, maybe 3 deep with our corners and nickels. But Miami seems to be faltering of late, so maybe we won't face them. But no, the defense is lights out. This is a championship defense. Our offense, I think, is very limited. But I think the bigger issue. Anyway, I think the bigger issue though is I was watching the Texas game today, and they had this Texas has this 340-pound defensive tackle that's just bench pressing the Arkansas offensive lineman out of the way and making these stuffs. And I'm like, wow, what a player that guy is. The announcers say he's a transfer from Louisville. So now I'm saying to myself, holy cow, the SEC is rating the ACC for its best players in the portal. And so
that's interesting.
The transfer portal has brought parity within the SEC. In other words, now there's 5 or 6 really good teams in the SEC instead of just 1 or 2. But that's not going to help ND. I mean, we're going to face one of those 5 or 6 teams in the playoffs. And the trade-off with the ACC isn't equal. In other words, a top-flight ACC player that can go in on an SEC team and start is better than an SEC backup who gets disgusted and transfers to the ACC. You follow me? In other words, the transfer portal is kind of a one-way street for top-tier talent into the SEC. And again, this gets into the whole, the SEC is willing to pay the money. And, we had that debate, and I think I won it, but leave that for the listeners. But the point being, the SEC is paying top dollar to get these transfer portal kids. And, I think that people are mistaken to look at 2 or 3 loss SEC teams this year and say, oh, Notre Dame can take that team or whip that team. They're all good.
Yeah.
Top 5 SEC teams are really good. All of them.
We're going to have
them really good.
This draw, this whatever this playoff draw is going to end up being, it's going to determine a lot, whether you get a home game or not, and then what bracket you're in. And I don't know how it's going to shape out. And Notre Dame could have a really decent path until the 3rd round, or it could be brutal game 1. I don't know how that's going to go. Coming back to our game a little bit, do you think Notre Dame's offense just is what it is at this point in the year? Or do you hold out hope that they could find a little different gear or a new wrinkle to finish the year and head into the playoff? How do you look at that? Or do you just think this is what they are and it just isn't going to change now if we're this deep into the year? How are you looking at that offense as we wrap up this regular season and head for the playoff?
Yeah, I think it's a personnel problem. I think that we have 5 offensive guards playing. I really do. and that's why we run the ball pretty well, because
Yeah.
offensive guards can usually put a helmet on a helmet and get somebody out of the way. But in a pass protection situation, I think both our tackles are susceptible to speed rushes, which is going to be a real problem. And then I think our wide receivers, our top 4 wide receivers, are all slot wide receivers.
Yep.
There's nobody that's going to scare anybody on the outside. I think this guy Gilmore called in. He was a smart guy, very high IQ. He was talking about how we don't have deep threats on the outside, and really Notre Dame hasn't had that in 5 years. It's been a long time. But this particular group, they're all small, they're all shifty, and nobody scares opposing defenses deep. It's just that these ACC defenses are so pathetically weak. They can't stop our running attack even if they know it's coming. Against a top flight, SEC defense, our offense might be able to scratch out maybe 17 points, but our defense would have to play, unbelievable to hold an SEC team to 17 or fewer in a game.
Yeah.
So I'm very pessimistic about the offense. I don't see it getting any better. I think Riley Leonard's he's a throwback quarterback. He reminds me of, for the old timers, he's starting to remind me of Blair Keel, which is a guy who played for Notre Dame in the early 80s in this option offense. He's like an option quarterback, he's just not a thrower. I like him. He seems like a competitor, but he's just not a thrower. And, unfortunately our tight ends are only recently starting to look better. But I don't know. I just don't see, if we had one good receiver, just one, I'd have a whole different complexion, but we don't have a guy. We don't have a Will Fuller on the team. I would even take a Claypool, but but something,
something
really deep.
Yeah, and something that a defense had to plan for and worry about, So I don't know, man. Like maybe I don't want to be overcritical. It's just objectively the passing game is it's such a struggle to just get anything done most of the time. It's frustrating, man.
No, it's agonizing to watch.
Yeah.
It's interesting how the seeding will work. The Irish might be better off. We might be better off with an 8 seed rather than a 5 seed, depending on how things shake out. Because my hope is we play a team we can play bully ball with, in the first round, like a team we can just push off the line.
Yeah.
A team like Penn State or Indiana, somebody like that, we can just push off the line. I'm very concerned, watching the Texas game today with these guys I have on the defensive line that are just gigantic. And I'm like, how the hell are we going to run against that team? Because we sure as hell aren't going to throw on them. And so it's just a concern that, look, we can catch fire. I think any team could. And we have the nice thing about a playoff is you have a puncher's chance of catching fire and rolling through the playoffs. But the problem is eventually you're going to have to throw the damn ball, and I don't know that we can.
That's where I'm at too, man. And so it's I don't want to be overcritical. The team is rolling and you're in playoff position and you just got to hope maybe it expands a little bit. Like you mentioned, maybe if Evans can get going a little bit, maybe that's where your pass game evolves a little bit is if he could be more of a reliable target like he was last year. Maybe that's your angle to expand the pass game a little bit. I mean, it isn't what we want over the top, but at least it's something.
Yeah, no, last year before he got hurt, he was the best tight end in football.
Yeah, and he was our number. Every third down, they threw it to him on a crossing route right at the first down line every single game. He was your best receiver last year.
Yeah, no, he was. He definitely was. I mean, this is weird because I think the running attack is better than it's been in, frankly, many decades. But the passing attack isn't where it should be.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating to watch Notre Dame offensive football over the last 10 or 15 years where we have one or the other,
Yeah.
Charlie Weiss's teams could throw the ball all over the place, but man, they couldn't run the ball worth a lick.
And forget defense. Yeah. It's we're going to see, man. There's a lot to clean up here before Army. I don't know, man. Anything else? Thanks for giving me a call. I'm glad.
No. Thanks for letting me call it. It's funny. Last week, I tried to call in after the game, and I remember thinking to myself, John should really rename the post-game segment the late night college town diner because the number of drunks
Yeah,
that
I
were
know.
calling in.
I
And
know.
in the track, it was just funny. Like I'm like, this is like going to a diner late night, like at 2 a.m.
You
on like
never,
a Friday or Saturday night. in
you
a
got
college
to
town.
you got to keep your head on a swivel, man. You never know what you're gonna get. So I'm always trying to be nimble because I never know what I'm gonna get. And the late night stuff is really interesting. So listen, man, I appreciate you getting on here, giving me a call. I love that you have your own account set up now so you can participate in the chat. And the other thing is, I give you a lot of credit and respect because sometimes people go at you a little bit and you hold firm, you keep coming back, you hold your positions, and you're holding in there. And I respect that. And I think the group does too.
All right, man, I appreciate it. I'm always happy to debate. So
I love it.
I throw that out there again. But I don't know if the first one ended to the liking of everybody else, but it was memorable. I'll say that.
It was definitely
and,
memorable.
I respect your friend Pat Cotter because I respect any guy that gets in there and debates. And
yeah,
so
and you know what else too?
The guy, I'd buy him a beer.
Yeah,
I'd buy him a beer.
That's really nice. And you know what else too is all of this stuff's coming from the same place of us all wanting Notre Dame to be successful. That's the big picture thing here is like everybody in this ecosystem. That's even if we differ on things, that's where we're coming from. But a lot of respect to you. And I'm glad you have a chat thing, your name set up here, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, man.
All right, man. Be good. Take care.
Take care. I'm telling you, we got some nice callers, man. Really, really nice callers. It is a joy. Okay, this is going to be probably the last call of the day, and then Johnny Boy's got a bunch of articles to write. 574, you're on the air. What's going on?
Is it me?
It is.
Hey.
Hey.
Appreciate that caller calling in. Little different tune than he had after the Purdue game. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's just, I'm glad. I like somebody that mixes it up and is going to hold to their positions and battle people over it, all from the starting point and finishing point of loving Notre Dame. That's what we're here for. It's a beautiful thing.
And I'm happy with today's win. I think everything for the most part went pretty well. Offense, I agree. I got some concerns, but I still think they got a good enough offense to, if they got to kick it in, I think they can. I really do.
Yeah, man, that's the question. You're like, I like what this defense does. You like Riley Leonard's legs. You like those backs. Do they have enough? I don't know.
Yep. I'm just, I just, the Brian Kelly thing, I'm happy when he loses. I was upset when he lost or when he left Notre Dame, actually. The only thing is I have to say is I think he did turn Notre Dame around. I mean, it took a long time.
Well, now wait a second. Well, hold up now. I can do two things at the same time. I fully acknowledge Brian Kelly did a good job at Notre Dame when he inherited the job and it was in the dumpster and there was a lot of things that had to get on the right track. Brian Kelly did a lot of that hard work, brought us back to respectability and credibility. He deserves a lot of credit for that. But that doesn't mean that at that point you get to just treat everybody like crap and not recruit. So I can do both things at the same time. I give him credit and respect him.
I agree. I agree.
Like I give him credit for that.
The only thing I'm trying to say is I think he left Marcus Freeman in a decent spot.
I would agree with that. The culture wasn't like a problem where he had to like Freeman inherited some nightmare in the locker room. Like Brian Kelly did a pretty good job. But this is Notre Dame. Pretty good isn't good enough. You don't get to golf instead of recruit. This is Notre Dame. You don't get to treat everybody like crap. That's not how it goes here.
Right.
It's not going to work here. And whatever, man. But they're getting what they wanted. They wanted them. It's the fancy SEC. It's LSU. It's all that Southern talent. And John doesn't know anything about it. You wanted them. You got them.
No, I agree 100% with you. I'm just saying, I don't think he left Marcus Freeman in a terrible spot.
I would agree.
I think Freeman's kind of taking maybe a good maybe taking what he got left and hopefully making it good. And
I agree with some of that, but also I like the attitude I'm seeing and the mentality from the guys that Freeman has recruited since Kelly's been gone. That sophomore class and freshman class has some winners in it and some guys with a unique mentality that I really love.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I agree with that 100%. And I'm actually a big Notre Dame basketball fan. And, shout out to Notre Dame today for beating Georgetown. But I kind of compare that a little bit too, that Bray kind of got things turned around for Notre Dame basketball.
Yeah, that sounds like they're getting things turned in the right direction. I'm not the biggest basketball guys, but it sounds like the recruiting's taking an uptick.
Yeah,
they're headed in the right direction.
I'm just saying, just to leave you with absolutely nothing, you can't. It takes a long time, and sometimes the next coach doesn't do so good.
Yeah,
when you're left without absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of my thinking, and hats off to Notre Dame today. They did a good job, and I really think the offense can pull through if we have to.
It's
sometimes they don't have to.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do against some better competition, a better defense, and I just want to see if they could just get that passing game a little more consistent, a little more regular that I could rely on. I would feel significantly better about a playoff run. It's just, I don't know how far you can run it, doing it the way you're doing it. Although you don't know till you know. Maybe that defense can grind people out, get a couple turnovers, and you win. Maybe you don't need to score 35 and throw it all over. I don't know. That's why you play the games.
Yeah, I noticed. I kind of thought they were trying to protect Riley Leonard a little bit more today, maybe save him a little bit and not run him so much. And maybe that's what they're trying to accomplish. And you get a little bit of a lead. It looked like maybe it was going to be a fairly easy win. Just not run him so much. And maybe we got a little bit out of offensive rhythm just because of the way the defense was playing. I mean, they were flying all over the place. But
they were flying all over. So I don't know, man. Things are going well. Notre Dame is on a major winning streak. There's still things to clean up, but they're doing a really good job. Momentum should be building. And we go to Army and then you worry about LA. So it's one you're 2 away from a miraculous comeback from a nightmare week 2. It would be a terrific coaching job. Credit to all the players for fighting back, but you can't lose again. You lose again and you're out, and the whole tone of the whole year is going to change. You got to win 2 more games, period. I don't care what they look like. You got to win 2 more.
No, I agree. Yeah, they got to. I mean, the next 2 games scare me. I mean, it's not going to be easy.
Oh, they're both unique. Oh, they are both unique. They're both really unique.
And I think Army's better than Navy. And I've watched Army a couple times, and I just really think that
it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, Army's going to be not an easy game.
Here's the issue, though.
Different place. And
like, if you are looking at it, they have a defense that's ranked right by ours in those metrics. Their schedule, listen, man, they don't. You want to talk about Notre Dame doesn't play anybody? They don't play anybody. So I'm a little skeptical of some of their impressive numbers because they really don't play. You want to say Notre Dame doesn't play anybody? They really don't play anybody. So it's hard for me to gauge.
Right.
It's hard for me to gauge.
Yeah, it's hard for me to gauge too. And then USC, they're fighting for bowl eligibility or to be bowl eligible. And I think they won tonight against Nebraska. So.
Yeah. So I don't know, man.
It's going to be one of those games. I don't know. They're probably, they're playing for their life at the end of the year too. So
we got 2 more, and I would like to think, dude, I would like to think that this team, the players themselves, I would like to think that they feel that pressure of like what their comeback has been and how hard they've had to fight to come back from the second game. And like, I feel like, man, it almost feels like they're just going to will themselves to victory the next 2 weeks because they've come too far not to. Like, that's the feeling I'm starting to get. And I hope I'm not wrong about that.
I hope you're right. Yep.
Hey, man, I really appreciate the call. Thanks for hitting me up here. Enjoy the rest of the college football tonight, NFL tomorrow, and Notre Dame wins, Brian Kelly loses. It's a beautiful thing.
Will do. Have a good night.
Have a good one, buddy. Thank you very much. Am I a Dua Lipa guy? I don't know what that means. Is that one of them girl singers or something? One of those girl singers that I couldn't tell you. Did she sing any song I'd know? I think that's some cute. Is that some girl singer? I don't know what a Dua Lipa is. Sounds like an insult you would call somebody or something in another language. You know what I'm saying? John, is it just me or are we going, what are we going to do about the kicking game? I don't know. Do you got any Reggie Hoes anywhere on the soccer field? What do you got, any Reggie Hoes standing on hold or what? I don't know what you're going to do, but it ain't good enough. I don't know what you're going to do, but it isn't good enough. And you better just plan on going for 3rd and 4th down every time. So I don't know what to tell you. All right, folks. That's going to be it. We have gone a full 2 hours. There is a whole nother bank of calls. You guys, I got a post-game video to record, and I got a handful of articles I got to write. And that's going to run me through the end of the night. So I got to get going. 2 hours is about why no packages for Kenny. I have no idea, Jimmy. He seems like the missing man in between all this. Maybe they don't want to mess up the rhythm they have or whatever. I don't know. But Kenny seems kind of like a forgotten man in the middle of all this. We'll see what happens next year with the competition or what they're going to do. Anyways, I really appreciate you guys. Great show today. Good, really well-rounded callers. We had our regulars. We had a bunch of new people. That is about the perfect blend for the call-in show that I want. A bunch of regulars and a bunch of new people. That's absolutely perfect. Omar, you're out of control. That's unbelievable. Carl! I'm not leaving Carl hanging. $10 holler. Sorry, I'm late. LSU fans were having a run at me. It's just too hard for them to admit they were wrong and we were right. Let the insults fly. Carl. John's a writer. Sports Illustrated. Notre Dame Fighting Irish by Sports Illustrated. I write 3 articles a day, 365, baby. Go check it out. Carl. That is Carl. Good to see you. Anybody know what movie that's from? Carl. Good to see you. Anyway. Who knows what movie that's from? Carl, good to see you. Anyways, Carl, that's the entire thing. The entire thing. And here's why last week was so good. The LSU, ding, ding, ding. Oh, yeah, you got it. Carl, good to see you. You're right. You're absolutely right, Carl. I got him boxed in. All I've been saying is, Kelly. And the media for LSU's been saying, you're just mad we stole your man. You don't understand real football because it's little Notre Dame and not the big SEC and LSU. You don't understand real football. Only we do. And when we get your guy here, it's all going to be different because it's real football and you're not real football. That was their argument. Just spell couch. C-O... Are you going to the mall later? Why would you ever say R? It's couch. So the fact that he says R is the best thing. That's the best thing. R. Why would R be in couch? It's the funniest thing in the whole movie. It's just the funniest thing. There shouldn't be an R. Rip Jules says sports writing isn't real writing. Well, thank you for mocking the way I make a living and pay my mortgage. Appreciate that. It's real enough that I get paid for the articles I write, buddy. But thanks for insulting the way I make a living now. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Enough people read it. I don't know what else you would call it. Anyways, so then last week happens with LSU. And I could see it in their media. They wanted to go at Kelly really hard, but they were restraining themselves and finding other ways to blame the players for not doing stuff, blaming the assistant coaches, whatever. it felt to me like the LSU media people, a lot of them, they were trying to circle around Kelly and complain about everything else without really saying what they wanted to about him, what's in their hearts. Because they know if they say what's in their hearts, it proves us all right. And they know I'm going to be right there tweeting and texting and commenting on their YouTube videos. Told you. So they're all boxed in. But now the gloves got to be off now. Like it's 3 losses. I know you had a bye in there, but this is 3 losses in. Think about it, guys. Bad second half against A&M, loss, bye week, the loss last week, and now the loss here. This is LSU. This is LSU. You can't be doing that. You can't be doing that. I love it. All right, you guys. Carl, I'm glad I got Carl. You can't give the company to Carl. I'm glad. I am just love doing this, you guys. So thank you, everybody. Donating, calling, chatting, everything. Really good blend. I'm going to record the episode you're going to see in the morning. I'm going to write a bunch of articles. We'll watch the end of these games. Everybody have a good one. We'll see you